much better, Pai. Hello, anyhow, y'all good. And Pai, you said when it passes away, you'll see it on the news, Pai. It is a thorn. Thought again, I think of the pot, I thought again. Có giờ chỉ chính sĩ quan lưu lại kia tôi lần đó mua là cái tôi tại Australia cho số mong chị bao số mong cái thị đầu cái sĩ quan cái sĩ quan xem bộ chính cho chị còn bộ tôi là ya phải mong bộ tôi cái ya phải mong tôi kia phải này cái phải bao của mà phải rất bộ nhiên cơ ya cho nên là chúng mua cũng ya chính nhá chứ hey but afterwards there's a bat demon that approaches ya tôi đã bỏ nó cũng mất tuổi rồi ya mất tuổi bao giờ which you are fuck you Malaysia. I gutted your bat demon until he had me dead. Yeah, me dead. You don't see Pi as the one with the double green swords real. Yeah, y'all good. And Pi said, her didn't get it. You're as fast as 5 size time. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Pi murdered of Iwas was not generic god when they asked for. And Pi said, he says, I have no idea. Tell us a time to go. They go. When you get deleted, you pop out back in 2 hours. You fight again. Yep, you have 2,000 lives per gene cell, and that's why hers running hers finding hers running her dies every time you fought it 9 minutes, yet it gets slower and slower. After 7 million years, yet it dies. It dies, that's true. The dumbass who kept going against you, 3 hours noticed the effects. Everything just went to hell. Yep, 100% is due. Yep, fuck you, Middle Eastern. And later on in life, Pi, their father pops on 4,000 English calendar year. Yep, Pi murdered them. There's no more whites. Yep, 2,600. Yep, they're all extinct. Same thing with blacks. Fair. Status cleared. Yep. You have good status as good humans. That's respectful. That's correct. But never hygienic enough to become gods or immortals. That's correct. Yep. One saying, the moment her brain turned on by you, you looked at it and you said, no, can't be none. Yeah, can't be none. Them are too evil. That's true. And look at that, Pi. It was 2 fucking hours of fucking nice laughing with you and pointed to the fucking little dark-skinned bitch dies in perma. Yep, 100% that's correct. I can't tell you why Pi's evil, y'all could. I have never seen you so barbaric in my life, Pi. There is 2 fucking dead demons, Pi. Yep, fuck them too. Yeah, fuck them too. The last batch that left came back all dies. Well, it has to be those tiger lamb demons. That's true. 2 hours. I just kept deleting it. Pi came back and forth and Pi not died. That's correct. Have you seen the grown gods, Pi? They wrote there's something wrong with the human genome structure. The fucking shit believed the fucking head of a tiger fucking lamb thing. And it came back down, it dies. That's true. That's true. 2 hours, Pi. You bad, Pi. That's correct. Creepy. Now, Pi. Có tua ta o nè phật đại đá nè tua bao chơi cũng này cái à rồi cho công su tới sống tu số này làm su o buổi xong của mà tôi đã có là sai của mình ở tiêu phải muốn tới cho mình cái tua ta à mua chơi nè phải muốn mình cái tua ta sau tu xe ya phải muốn số tua ta phải muốn cho bị ai ta phải muốn我们梦说ta有个phải chụp quan trọng này tôi chỉ số phải một tổ tát, thì là chỉ trong xe là một sự yêu cái giờ phao hay cái giờ viên dòng bao cho tròn cho hai ninh ra thì tôi chúa là phải tôi không có thâu khai mình đua kia một trận của yêu là tại tiền nút từ cái zakat thằng be sure to be a level 1 like Pi, then you can be cocky, that's correct, Pi crashed the book of law. Had it đó lỗ nè, đôi chủ phim mà chỗ phải cam on nữa phải chọn gìn tới tay nè, tiếp liền đôi chủ phim mình cũng nhiệm vụ lư ta thấu thuật thế, lư ta luôn nói, nó sao số mong rất thuộc kia, lư ta tuột ta và mình sẽ lúc cái sao chủ lâu lăng xong cú tiền, chuyện là chơi chỉ có chơi số, bao chơi giờ mong đó gì, su xe đó nữa tụi bắt đầu rú nữa chỉ được qua tới kia rồi nó chỉ quan trai nó bắt đầu chỉ chọn nữa hết, phải chỉ chọn được thuộc kia nó thuộc đấy yêu cơ. Nên giờ mình sẽ phải có nó có những cái coming out towards it coming out này cho nhé coming is like 600,000 years old, 660,000. That's where they restore space technology. That's true. That's why coming is not poor. Coming is an evil god, but the hawk looted it fair and then distributed it fair and recreated and made perma. That's true. They saw the corrupt soul not even as powerful as Pi. That's true. Yep, that's true. 2 hours, it flew off and said, yeah, that's true. The damn thing, it was inferior, but righteous, fair, yeah. That's why dragon people fair, yeah, that's true. You gotta be fair too, yeah, you gotta know when to cut it, but let it think it is anything good, yeah, that's true. No, but Pai said 2 hours later, you let it think it is good, it keeps going, all the parents are up there safe, yeah, they're safe, that's true. Yeah, the ones that offended Pai are not safe, but very few, yeah, very few. That's why they made fun of fucking Israel. Stupid enough, y'all could. Guys, when we get there, you see a bunch of parts, and then you see in the back there is a Cobra, and they looted one of your grandpa's space station. That's true, yeah, that's true. That's why I wrote, Israel is not innocent. That's true. But then I do run into a group of whites that only have one white station that is 3 Egyptians in there. That group is fair. Yeah, that group is fair. That's true. That's probably really Israel. That's probably right. That's right. Those are the real Persian Israels, yeah, that never cheated yellow gods. And so Pai kept the demons, and then Pai rewarded their nations, and Pai forced all the other whites. And then, yeah, they pick their wives and bring it into, yeah, whatever cousin they want to. Yeah, 100% law norms, that's correct. Because that's all Pai can do. And then right after Pai got all the children. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Because Pai will not rebuild space for you. Yeah, he was found to be evil, accurate. The most common sense, fairness and goodness. You lost. Yeah, you lost. That's true. Thanks, almost Pai just threw it away. Pai just said, fuck that. How about me just rebuild and I just delete you? And then I just get rebuilding for my humans, you know, human gods, and then my good white gods, and then my demons, and then I just don't care about you. Yeah, yeah. And that's what Pai did. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. And so it was like after the big war, Pai, yeah, European status cleared. Yeah, cleared. They actually got, yeah, they actually got people. Accurate good gods. What we don't tell you, woman, is that when Pai's done destroying the planet, Pai do build the planet moons. There's like 14 planet moons. You see a big metal rod around, yep, a metal sphere around the planet. That's the Earth's shell now, and on top of that is metal and a rod, and then on top of that is a metal moon planet, and there's 14 million of those. All the good parents can come back down and land and recreate whatever, yeah, indexers they need. Yeah, that's true. They beam to the Earth and pull it back out and then reprint. Yeah, that's true. Pai is smart. He is smart. So Pai didn't totally wipe out your nation. Pai corrected the error. The drug addict Africans. Yeah, that's true. And then it was way worse afterwards, Pai. You went and you're horrified what white people did to your grandma's civilization. Your Balinese grandma, 650,000 years to 2025 a year now, and pure evil, yeah, pure evil. Same thing what they did to Yao, and those are Hebrew, yeah, Hebrew and Iran. Iran looted a lot of your space stations. That's correct, yeah, that's correct. The dumbass didn't believe you, Pai. 2 hours, you chopped off his head, and you said, you think my cobras are 4 heads like that? No, those are duped for my dragon tail grandmothers. And right there, you gutted her. Yeah, you gutted the Iran, that's correct. And Pai said, when you got them, you did about 80 trillion dead per second, and then you saw a bunch of them match, and then you flew out of there. That's true, that's right. Common sense when they allow you to do so, but don't speak their language fluently. Yeah, that's correct. And Pai, you won, yeah, you won. It was 4 fucking fights like that, and then they said, we don't know what it is, okay? We just got news that he's from Earth, and he has this kind of weapon. And then he has super powerful decks, yeah? He just kept gutting about 200 trillion of them were missing, and them are not thrilled by it. No, but that's it. Pai said, go more Persia, throw in the 900 trillion, yeah? About 8-7 days, go throw Iran is super evil, like Iwas, yeah, that's true. I was just gazillion times faster, but that fucker, yep, defeatable, yeah, but get out of there, yeah, I got out of there in time. You don't see what the fuck is wrong with those women. They have, some of them have emulation, and some of them have been, yeah, Yaku. What's cool about Persia, if they have a supercharger, then they match their African brothers, that's true. And the fucking shit is, Pai, you won, yeah, you won. You looted one from Hound Dog Goddess, that's why you're not talking about Britain, yeah, that's true. When you looted from it's one of its offsprings or daughters, Pai, you put it in, yeah, you emulate, you absorb enough new decks, Pai, your skin is withstand for 3 days. You gut people, next virgin skin withstand for 8 million years, and look at that, horrifying. They wrote, yep, real level 1, yeah, real level 1. It was 2 hours of I was dying, and he says, you didn't equip your new chip yet. That's why you cannot use supercharger for more than 3 days. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. And Pi, you see what happened? After you corrected your electricity chip, 2 hours, and everything is out of there. Yep, they're out of there, Pi. They knew it. You absorb enough decks, and everything has been deleted. Yeah, all opponents have been defeated. That's correct. And Pi, so you see that? Fucking idiot cried in his card. They wrote, that's a fucking supercharger type. And Pi was only a turbo type, absorbing the spinal cord, and then keep up in the correct dex range of speed. And so Pi peer and Pi can maneuver around the damaged ones. Not fun, women. Yeah, not fun, women. And Pi said 2 hours, and you match Pi. Yep, that's correct. And the supercharger mode DNA way powerful. Yep, you left that for your white son too. They're able to, but after they get new decks, Pi, they see what's wrong with that Hebrew type Pi. He is pissed. Yeah, he's pissed. You read into Hebrews as Pi did. Yeah, Pi did. Pi is a Hebrew son. And when he is born, Pi, he hates. Yeah, he hates you, Pi. Yeah, he hates you. Because later on in life, he is not nice to you, Pi. Okay. And you'll find out what he said to you, Pi, from the group of white war gods that were fighting in the same space station. It's been junked and quarantined and like sealed away, but you're able to access it, and you're powerful enough that they not kill you, Pi. But yeah, you run into their woman and you gain. And the funny thing is, right after all the confusion, Pi, the fucking bat demon enters and you got it, Pi. Yeah, 100% you. You want to see what the fuck people thought that was nice to Pi's people? Pi wrote that's an old civilization of Cobra gods that they looted. Very evil. Oh yeah, very evil. And Pi said, you see what the fucking shit that fucking shit was pointing to? 2 names and you're looking for that. Yeah, 100% you do. Hey, Paisa, your son nailed one of them. Yeah, 100% you do. And it was one of your white sons that murdered 5-sided star when you left the Milky Way. Yeah, that's true. That's correct. He not tell you how. Yeah, y'all can. And just say, nó sẽ phải đâu có phải cái tụi chỉ cho nó cũng sẽ nó chỉ ó nó mua cái này tuôn tàu cho này thì where all the space station. He says no good. Yeah, no good. You didn't pass in your citizenship. That's true. That's true. And that is only from the Hmong Knights who can build the space station and then beam the holograms, and then it works. And then yeah, it's only a beaming hologram ritual and it works. And then it's all AI locked. Yep, cannot be looted or duplicated. That's correct. And Pi, 4 hours. The dude that kept fucking with you is missing. Yep, normal. Green light always just do. And Pi said, when you met Iwas, he looked innocent, but play along, Pi. You'll soon find out he is the real Iwas from the Book of Law. That's correct. That's correct. When you fought him, you saw Pi 14 minutes of pretending to be weak, 18 hours, and he murdered all the white citizens. And then he said, fair. And then Pi nodded. And Pi waited, and boom, he cut Pi, and then Pi and Dora paced back together. Yep, and it was 12 minutes after you pissed him off. It was 9 minutes, man, 9 minutes. Pi, that's correct, yeah, that's correct. He says, Pi, you said you, the legendary Pi, yeah, that's correct. ก็包括 Iwas 的我那派，也咁 Iwas 能到你的下冷上的多个，可能就可以講啦，你叫 son 有俾到 when you fucked with one of the sons, you saw the difference, Pi. That it protected you, but it is not strong enough to protect the sword, protect you from the father. And so, yeah, you flew back. Yeah, y'all good. And then Pi said, do you see how many strikes? Pi was cutting him 400 trillion times per second. That's true. Per collision. Him was cutting back at Pi near 900 trillion times 2. Yeah, times 2. Really, 4. Yeah, 4. Yeah, 4 per collision. Real. Yeah, real. You know how fucking fast that Iwas god is? Scared the shit out of Pi too. Yeah, that's true. 淘寶嘅嗰啲 collisions，呢個都400 trillion。And it was like 14 minutes and then Pi's out of there. Yeah, Pi's out of there. Yeah, Pi's out of there. That thing is not humane, war god. And Pi, you see what happened? You cut most of the time on E-Rain. Yep, 900 trillion times 8,000 Pi. Dude, on him, only 400 trillion, man. He is super fast. Yeah, super fast. 係時間出播咯。我哋將會讓得困好咗，就係你大講的那排你要用力個，要你用力個。And then Paisan, the data shows you cut it so fast, but it recovered so fast, it scared you. Yeah, he is super regen on. Yeah, that's true. But he said it was 9 hours of you crying every time you put on your new metal. You felt pain, and then you needed to wait about 50 years every time you implant yourself back into your gold body. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, silver body back to gold. Hurts a lot. Yeah, hurts a lot, woman. Yeah, hurts a lot. It is not fun. Yeah, it's not fun, woman. And Paisen, later on in life, you'll figure gold isn't full of it, but the kid never knew. You just goofy ass, goofy crazy, but yeah, science fact real. What we don't know, Pi, every time you went to heal and inject your DNA back into your body, it becomes normal. You scream, Pi, yeah, that's true. Because right there, it becomes organic again. Not fun. Yeah, not fun, Pi. 20 hours. Look at the kid that didn't believe Pi. I said, you know what happened? 2 Egyptians are easy, but in their Iwas is something else. Pi, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And then the ranking is about 20 to 40 trillion dead African gods, per 19 seconds or less. That's around Pi's, sun speed. And Pi, you smart. You want to know what that woman said to you? You're about level 4. Yeah, level 4. Yeah, level 4. She says those are Pi's slowest sons. The fastest, they do near 800 trillion. Yeah, near there, 700 trillion. But the truth is 400, 400 trillion. Yep, near 400 trillion. Yeah, per second. Because they're also being supercharged. Yeah, the enemy African god, that's true. Dex is getting faster. And liars are you and your son. 400 trillion dead per 14 seconds. And then you spin around and they're already matched. Yeah, that's true. Poof, you pop back out and then you're out of there. That's true. Because those are insanely fast superchargers. Yeah, that's true. Hey, Pi, 如果做到人的 chip 8 million, 6 million 啦，個比例撞到去嘢啦，能做㗎嘢，能做㗎。And he saw you, the Hmong god, that matched his dex for 6 days while being cut up. And he screamed. He said, God, va, smart, yeah, smart. Everything left. Yep, immediately they wrote, that is not full of it. Yeah, y'all good. And then right there you went away because he was able to cut you up 14 times and then Pi went to gold heal. Yeah, that's true. Pi didn't want to pop out and fight him again, so Pi left. Yeah, Pi left. Pi is in. 個書局攞低個嘢錢先有Pi cheat，咁咪多咗呢樣。Pi said, 講到你都下牌上你都嘅嘢。That Egyptian took you 7,000 years to defeat in that sector. That sealed away quarantine sector. Pi? Very graphic news, Pi. They wrote the fucking shit fucking with you has been gutted by Persian. Yeah, 100% doing as do normally as what, yeah. And I was trying to ask you, can you beat an Egyptian? Pi beat one. It took Pi 7,000 years, though. That's true, that's true. And he says, Pi, you said, every time you went in there with the supercharger, you cloned it to your skin dex, your science skin, and your magic wand. Later, you knew the difference. Pi, yeah, you knew the difference. Why they make fun of you. You never lost a dex, Pi, but later you knew the difference, Pi. When you clone, I saw you not even stay for a day. Pi, that's correct. That's correct. Because Pi picked up so much speed, Pi's afraid to not go into the spinal cord genes. And so you did that and you left immediately, and then you went to heal, and then you went to beam, and then rebeam, and then bend, and then match. Hey, Pi, you did it right. Horrifying news, Pi. You is as fast as I was from 8,000 years ago. That's probably correct. Yeah, that's probably correct. And he is not nice. See, he says, if you really think that a star god is like that, their supercharger has manifold that has been mod, so it's almost as fast as Egyptian. That's true. And then he maliciously damaged African sun god's supercharger elixir, and then they installed new ones, and that's why them install new ones, and that's why his new version was a lot low horsepower. That's true. And that's why 5-side star is technically the fastest white war god in the Milky Way. That's true. That's one of the coolest supercharger with mod manifold. That is way cool. Yeah, it's way cool in the skin body and the Paisan. Paisan has no idea. I have no idea how to do that. Because I don't even know how to mod that. Because every time you touch it, your eyeballs glow colors. Yeah, that's true. That's correct. And Pi, you didn't dare mod your version. Did you see the woman that didn't believe you? 14 minutes later, boom, it outperformed you and you out of there, yeah, that's true. It's like both gods are going racing, and then Pi catches up, and then he slows down, and then right there, Pi can kick his butt. And then after, boom, he's over there, he comes back and kicks Pi's butt because he's super fast, and then Pi flies away. Yeah, that's true, that's correct. That's how fast white gods are. And Pi said it was 20 days of people laughing with you and wrote, don't let little gods go in there. Those are super fast monsters. And Pi said, later on in life, graphic scene, he screamed because you were the most equivalent type that he has seen in Asia. And then Pai said, one more day, I'm going to pass away. Pai, that's probably true, that's probably true. Pi did not manage to know how he cut Pi up so badly. Pi left, yeah, Pi left, they all go. Pi's not going to find out, yeah, y'all go. Hey, Pai said, your son got it 12 of those. And then he says, Dad, we're about 4,000 times your speed. Infinity always is the green light, always is the accurate. He says, Pai said, when you gutted Iwas, his survivor remaining sons yet went to hide, yep, your Hebrew son gutted them in the end. And then you learn the data shows the nights are matching, but 2 hours of the supercharging. The nights, yep, they're lagging within 18 seconds. Pai, that's correct. Yeah, but then the mechanical cuts hit. So they fight. Yeah, they fight normal green light is the wow, Pi, look at that. 14 hours went to 40 trillion cuts per second. Normal wizards do. He says, Pai said, the idiot that doubted you in your bots, did you see what Hada said? If you think Pi was funny, you can go try African Sun God. In real life, him would have gouged you out in 8 seconds. Pi, that's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. The kid never understood. Yeah, Pi absorbed that dex too, but didn't even compare then, yeah, when Iwas was there, yeah, sucking all the fucking, yeah, oxygen and creating more speed. It's insane, yeah, it's insane, yeah, it's insane. And it's created a new speed and new dex and new horsepower. And Pi is still in the old horsepower, not even, like, powerful, yeah, powerful enough to kill it. And it was like 9 minutes, yeah, Pi lasted to 13 minutes. But every time it cut me, my nanos cut right back. Yeah, the metal cut right back. Fluid cut right back. And boom, him felt it, and flew back because a few more cuts. And then, yep. It was not regioning accurately, and you scared him. And 2 hours, you out of there, and you sounding incantation. It was 4 months of the dragon in Malaysia lying to you. He says, Payusen, you almost killed him. The thing behind him is 20 times the speed. Pi, that's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. And Pai said, the graphic scene is once you cut it open, the thing that's behind him cuts you up 400 trillion, and then you paste back together, and then yada. Yeah, 100% we do. You want to know what he said to your son? You was so smart compared to your father. Your father's a liar. He has an emulator supercharger, and then Pi him has an emulator too. That's true. That's true. And we never tell you how Pi installed new turbos, yet new superchargers from new African-born gods in the prison. And Pi, when you did it, that's what scared I was. Because right there, Pi, the newborn has twice the dex. And then right there, you match for a few days. But the old supercharger, yet, has higher performance. That's true, that's true. It catches up within a few hours. That's true, that's true. And look at that, Pi. It was like 3 days, and he was as fast as you, Pi. That's true, that's true. And Pi was flying around, supercharged, but can't do nothing. He's super fast. Yeah, I'm super fast. Pi, you see what happened? 4 fucking hours of your son screaming. The knights went in there and got him out. Pi, yeah, normal, 100% is what guys do. And was only 9 years old. Pi, yeah, what a nut. Yeah, what a nut. Pi said, go home. Yeah, go home. Those are not fun. Yeah, those are not fun. Cô bỏ phải con này tôi đơn để chua xuống gà màu nè. Ai thô mà con này tôi đơn phải bê rồng. Con này tôi đơn nhà kia. Con này tôi đơn thì mình tệ mua hẹ mua. Tôi mi nhận xài nó phải tiêu phải ơi. Tôi mi tốt phải. Con này tôi nó chia nó chỉ con này tôi nó mà. Nó đà lý có hay để nó chỉ mua nó chỉ tổ mua nè. Nhà nó chẳng hết nó chỉ nó đào. Nó tôi nhưng cho họ có tôi nhưng auto sẽ thế hả chẳng. If I much election and then bend one manifold yet. I don't know how to bend it into manifold to increase yet. The dex flow, that's true. If I use the turbo intake and right in the horsepower intake and right there, He is lying. Yeah, he's lying, Pi. Yeah, he's lying. I saw what he bent. He bent with 4 turbos, and he do it right. Wow. Wow, good thing he's born for God. Yeah, that's correct. Pi is a crippled, yeah, but equivalent. And then right there, I knew it. And Paisa, you want to know what the woman said? If Paisa wasn't a cripple, Paisa would have tried installing it 4 times. Yeah, that's true, yeah, that's true. But 1 time only, because me a crippled. And look at the kid, didn't believe you. He learned 4 superchargers, and he lasts 12 days. He defeated 12 of those monsters. Yeah, that's correct. And Paisa, be careful, by you know what they say? Every supercharger you gain, you cut up the intestine, you cut up the spinal cord, and then you gain it by the head and the eyeballs and brain, and you absorb it through its metal. But right afterwards, you feel new decks in your skin, and then boom, you all perform. Yeah, you perform. Yeah, you perform. And then Pai said it was 9 days of your fucking son puking every time he went to supercharge and save it to his bone molecules and secretions. It was there, his molecule secretions and bone and metal and alloy. He matched, but he is pissed. Yeah, he's pissed. He's his dad. You know how fucking fast that is? That is 20 million times faster. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. And me to Pai, God, you told us all. God, how ranking my always for. Got to do my near 4 and near 4 optimized. Yeah, that's true. He says a 4 optimized supercharger, you can get close, but you're only good for a few days. That's true. That's true. Because right there they supercharge and boom, yep, they're faster. Yep, they're faster. Hey, but you say the coolest thing is when your son is lying to you. Your son went in to get the real one, but they have to go harvest those. Yeah, it is not easy. Pie's afraid. Pie not dare harvest it because it was so fast. Yeah, y'all could. You don't know how fast every Egyptian's lying to you, Pie. Once they reach that dex, your knights also reach the higher decks. That's correct. Yeah, right afterwards, Pie. Best fight scene, the knight ended 12 of those. Pie, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. And he says, when they're supercharged, obsolete, they pretend to be weak and they not use it to increase their horsepower. Pie, that's true. And then they look normal. But later on in life, when your son versed it again, boom, it kept absorbing, and then it kept, intake kept going, and boom, you see it outperform your son. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. And that's when the night went in formation, and 8 days is gone. Pi, yeah, 100% normal, always is do. You want to know why the kid didn't believe you, Pi? He says, if your supercharger can do what Hound Dog Goddess is doing, you will last 4 days. And Pi wrote, I saw what that shit is, yeah. Yep. Not 4 days, kid. A few minutes, yeah, a few minutes, yeah, that's true. 第什麼真係費事，嗰部國族哇塞，裝到真係嚟做嘅個啲，佢有咩落嚟做嘅，但係個嚟嘅，yeah, 個嚟嘅。Right when you see the ultimate combo opening up, you flew in, you did the collision cuts, 3 hours out of there, yeah, out of there. Every time you did, you was only collisionable 4 billion times. So yeah, 4 billion collision cuts only. That's true per round. Yeah, per round, because it kept going, and you kept enduring, and then your microcut metal counters, graphic at graphic. You don't know how much math that is. By 5 white gods puked and said you parried about 14% of his attacks. By yeah, that's 100% true. Yep, near 30. Yeah, near 30. And that didn't wow him. Yeah, it didn't wow him one bit. Yeah, that's true. Holy shit. That is Iwas. Yeah, it is Iwas. Liars are had at 2 Pi. He says that is near perfect parry, Pi. But when your metal and your sphere metal parries well, you not die, Pi. But look how graphic. Him cut up 50 trillion volts per second, Pi. Yeah. Him felt the explosions and the barcode hit him. Him still kept having enough fucking stamina and fucking health points in his cells to keep going like that, right? At that rate, he had to keep going like that. Pi, right on Pi. It was Pi that went in gold form. Boom! Came back out and fought again. And then Pi left. Yeah, Pi wrote impossible to defeat him. Yeah. And then soon, yeah, the metal cut, and then he'll get slower. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the bots cut him up daily. That's correct. The dumbass didn't believe it, Pi. 4 hours of not having any bots. Him committed suicide in the sector and said, we're good. We can't kill Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and we can't even kill that fucking dick over there because that dick is their father, Yaku. That's correct. Yeah, good. And the dumbass made fun of your night suit. But yeah, it passed. What we don't tell you, Pai, that a lot of alien greys came down and tried to loot it, but impossible. Yeah, impossible. Yeah, that's impossible. Do be careful, Pai. You're the only survivor from the experiment. China left, and then you're all alone. Yep, for 20 trillion years. Pai, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And Pai, you made it off the planet. But after the stretch, the planet Moon, yep, lands, and then, yep, you made it off. But be careful, Pai. Never again fight a real god like that because you defeated him. And then two ancient gods cried and told you, Norm, never tell the children, yep, any truths. Yeah, that's probably true, yep.